In the darkest corners of the web, real-life horror stories unfold. This is not for the faint of heart. Welcome to the top 5 creepiest stalking stories from Reddit. Stalking, a chilling act of obsession, violation, and intimidation, is a serious issue that affects countless individuals. Today, we're delving into true accounts shared by Reddit users, stories that will make your skin crawl and your heart race. If you dare, join us as we delve into these chilling tales. Our first tale takes us into the life of a woman who noticed a strange man taking pictures outside her apartment. The woman, who we'll call Jane, lived a relatively normal life. She had a 9-to-5 job, a cat named Whiskers, and a comfortable apartment in the city. But all that changed one fateful day when she noticed a man standing outside her apartment building, snapping pictures. At first, Jane brushed it off as a passerby capturing the city's architecture. But over the next few days, the man returned, always pointing his camera towards her apartment. Jane's initial curiosity soon turned to concern. The man was always there, rain or shine, morning or evening, clicking away. The fear began to creep in, a gnawing feeling in her gut that something was off. She decided to confront him, but each time she approached, the man would disappear, only to reappear later, camera in hand. Her fear escalated into paranoia. Every creak in her apartment, every shadow in her peripheral vision, every unexpected noise had her heart pounding. The man's actions went from weird to downright threatening when she started finding photographs of herself outside her door, pictures of her at home, at work, even while she was out grocery shopping. It was as if she was constantly being watched, tracked, and documented. Jane's peace had been shattered. Her home, once her sanctuary, now felt like a prison. She reported the incidents to the police, but without concrete evidence or the man's identity, they were unable to help. She felt helpless and terrified, living in constant fear of what this faceless man might do next. Despite her friends' reassurances, she couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. The persistent click of the camera shutter echoed in her mind, a chilling reminder of her unseen tormentor. In the end, she did the only thing she felt she could do to regain control of her life. Jane moved away, leaving behind her life and the haunting memories of the persistent photographer. The woman eventually moved, but the photographer's identity remains unknown. In our second eerie tale, an innocent walk turns into a night of terror. Picture this. A man, let's call him John, enjoys a peaceful stroll through the quiet streets of his neighborhood, oblivious to the creeping shadow that begins to tail him. Unsettled by the prickling sensation of being watched, he quickens his pace, glancing over his shoulder to catch glimpses of a figure lurking in the darkness. John tries to shake off the feeling, telling himself it's just his imagination playing tricks on him. But as he weaves through the maze-like streets, the figure remains a constant presence, matching his steps, always at a distance, always just out of clear sight. His heart thumping in his chest, John decides to confront the stranger. He spins around abruptly, but there's no one there, just an empty street bathed in the dim glow of streetlights. He laughs nervously, convincing himself it was all in his head. But as he turns back around, a chill runs down his spine. There, not 3 steps away, the silhouette stands, motionless and silent. Panic surges through him as he bolts towards his home, no longer caring to hide where he lives. He fumbles with his keys, his hands shaking as he darts a glance over his shoulder. The figure is there, watching from the shadows, making no move to approach. With a sigh of relief, John stumbles into his house, slamming the door shut behind him. He peeks through the blinds, heart pounding in his ears, only to find the street deserted once again. The figure is gone, vanished as suddenly as it appeared. The man never saw the stalker again, but the fear still lingers. It's a chilling reminder that even in the safety of our own neighborhoods, we can never truly know who or what lurks in the shadows. Our third tale is a chilling account of an unwanted admirer who took things too far. Imagine this. A woman, we'll call her Jane, began receiving anonymous love letters. At first, they were harmless, even charming. Who wouldn't be flattered by the sweet, albeit mysterious confessions of adoration? But as weeks turned into months, the tone of the letters shifted, becoming darker, more obsessive. The letters began to detail Jane's daily activities, from the clothes she wore to the places she visited. The secret admirer seemed to know every detail of her life. The charming mystery quickly morphed into a terrifying reality. It was clear Jane wasn't dealing with a simple admirer but a stalker. The letters turned from love notes to threats, the admirer's fixation growing more intense with each passing day. Jane lived in constant fear, looking over her shoulder at every turn. She felt like a prisoner in her own life, her peace of mind stolen by the faceless threat. Jane contacted the police, but without a name or a face, the authorities had little to go on. She was advised to take precautions and stay vigilant. This was easier said than done. How do you protect yourself from an unseen enemy? Despite the fear, Jane refused to let this person control her life. She began taking self-defense classes and installed security cameras around her home. She wasn't going to be a victim. She was determined to fight back. Eventually, after months of living in fear, Jane's nightmare came to an end. The admirer was identified and apprehended. It turned out to be someone Jane knew, someone she'd never suspected. The realization was both a relief and a betrayal. The admirer was eventually caught, but the trauma remains. Jane's story serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of obsession and the courage it takes to reclaim one's life from the clutches of fear. Our final tale is perhaps the most unsettling, a faceless stalker who tormented his victim without ever being seen. Our story centers around an ordinary man living an ordinary life until he began to notice something was off. He would come home to find things slightly out of place. A chair moved, a picture frame askew, a window left ajar that he was sure he had closed. He dismissed these as the workings of a forgetful mind, but then the signs grew more ominous. One evening, he returned to find a note on his kitchen table. It was a simple message, written in a hasty scrawl, "I'm watching you." The man's heart pounded in his chest. He searched his home, his fear mounting with each passing second, but he found nothing, no one. However, the fear had taken root. Days turned into weeks and the messages kept appearing. "You're not alone. I see you." Each note was more chilling than the last. The man installed security cameras, but they caught nothing. He reported to the police, but without any evidence, there was little they could do. The fear began to consume him. He felt eyes on him at all times. He saw shadows where there were none. He jumped at the smallest sounds. The faceless stalker had become his constant unseen companion, a dark cloud hovering over his every moment. And then the shocking twist. One day the man found a note that read, "Look in the mirror." Terrified, he turned to his reflection and saw himself. The faceless stalker was no other than a split personality, a part of him he didn't know existed, a part of him that watched, that moved things, that left notes. The revelation was a chilling one. The faceless stalker was unmasked, but the fear he instilled will never be forgotten. The man's ordeal serves as a stark reminder that sometimes the monsters we fear the most are not under our beds or in our closets, but within us. The faceless stalker was unmasked, but the fear he instilled will never be forgotten. These were the top 5 creepiest stalking stories from Reddit. Real stories, real people, real fear. We've traveled through the chilling tale of the persistent photographer, reminding us to always be aware of who's watching. Then we delved into the eerie narrative of the stalker in the shadows, a story that warns us to stay vigilant, even in our most familiar environments. Our journey continued with the Unwanted Admirer, a stark reminder of the thin line between affection and obsession. Finally, we faced the Faceless Stalker, a story that proves that sometimes the most terrifying threats are those we can't see. These stories are not just tales to send shivers down your spine, they are real experiences that highlight the serious nature of stalking, a terrifying reality for many. Remember, stay safe out there, and thank you for joining us on this chilling journey. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your doors locked.